Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a guide on how to find good node projects and how to survive in this node space. We're going to be understanding the principles behind nodes, the node as a service that we see right here in DeFi right now. We will see if it is still profitable today, since this node as a service started at around October, November last year. So is it still profitable for you to be in nodes as of today, or for you to get in if you're a new player here in DeFi? We're going to be seeing all these things, and I'm going to also show you a couple of projects that still haven't launched yet, but they have good tokenomics, and I personally am keeping an eye on them. So not financial advice, but I will also be giving you this alpha right here probably at the end of the video, so stay tuned to that information. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Before we start actually talking about nodes, we have to understand what these nodes are. I'll cut it short because I've already explained it here in other videos on how to do your own research on our nodes, our node as a service still profitable. These videos are here on my channel if you want to check them out. In short, the name nodes is just an eye catcher because they are not real nodes. They don't validate anything. They are not useful to blockchains. The majority of the times they are RPC endpoints, which do not make transactions faster, do not validate anything into the blockchain. So the name nodes is kind of just for marketing purpose. Let's put it in that way. Nodes are basically a way for a protocol to get funds, to attract funds. So long story short, by investing into these nodes as a service, you're investing in the protocol and you're giving the team your money. You're investing in the team because they are going to be the ones investing the money for you. Another thing that we have to understand is that the majority, and I'm saying 95% of nodes, have Ponzonomics. So they're building up funds and then distributing back these funds to investors. What is fueling the protocol in the beginning, of course, this can change, and we've seen it change to net positive protocols, but in the beginning they are not net positive protocols. They're getting funds from investors and then distributing part of it as a daily reward back to the same investors. So they start off as being very unsustainable. Short reason is they pay more than they are able to produce, they're able to make, which basically means without new nodes or without new money, the project dies in a matter of days, weeks, months, it doesn't matter. So there's a rule of thumb for me. It might be different for other investors, but my basic rule of thumb, I even said so in my, which video was it? In my Chronos notes. It is, if it has high rewards, I stay away from it. Because let me make an analogy right here. Let's say a DeFi node project is a car, and the funds that it has, the treasury, is the gas tank, is how much gas you have in the tank. That is the treasury. So let's say they're offering a 5% daily reward. This is how much the car is burning. This is how much the car is consuming on a daily basis. The higher the consumption level, or the higher the APR, the daily rewards that you're getting, the faster this tank will end. Because as I said, these protocols don't start off as profitable. They have to invest in somewhere else. They have to invest into actually validating something, into providing liquidity somewhere. So they will not have capital to sustain this in the long run. As I said, for Chronodes, they now lower the APY. So if I see a big number, the risk is even higher, even higher than if it was, for example, 1%. Now 1% is already a crazy number. 1% is very high in DeFi, but it gives a bigger lifespan to the project. So instead of having 30, 20 days for them to find out how they're going to make that money to pay back investors, they have 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 days for them to find a way to make profits out of their money and make the project become a net positive project. Not everyone agrees with me. Not everyone is okay with what I'm about to say, but the lower the rewards, the better it is for the protocol. Not for you, for the protocol. And if you believe in the protocol, you should be also prepared to have lower rewards, to enter in something that has lower rewards. Because imagine the team the dev team working on the clock because they're offering a 5% daily. So they have 20 days for them to figure out what to do with the protocol for them to be profitable. Now, the team will be burnt out for sure. They work around the clock. They might do stupid things, and that might cause the protocol to die. Now, if instead of paying 5% daily, they're paying 1% daily, they have a wider time frame for them to figure out what to do with your money. So think it like that. A protocol with a longer ROI, it means also that they are less likely to self-destruct. Another thing, we have to be careful when joining our new protocols. Of course, if you get in early, you will make more money. But this is not the case, for example, for Strong, for Torf, for Com, for Vapor nodes, whatever. Because these nodes that have been present for more than 1, 2, 3 months, they are less likely to rug. It doesn't mean they won't rug. We have seen cases of projects that were 1, 2 months old and then they just rugged out of the blue. So it doesn't apply for everything. It is not a rule. But if you see a project that has been paying correctly, it doesn't really matter if the price goes up and down because it's volatility. It will happen. But if the project hasn't had any issues, any major issues, contract issues, stuff like that, and it has more than 1 or 2 months old, then it is a little bit safer, emphasis on safer, but it is a positive thing for it to be a little bit older. Another thing that you have to take in consideration is your ROI, because I see a bunch of people saying, hey, I've joined Cronodes because the ROI is 20 days. No, the ROI is 20 days depending on the price you got in. So for example, let's say you got in at $100. If the price stays at $100, your ROI will be 20 days. But if the price goes back to $20, your ROI, I'm sorry to say, is simple math, will not be 20 days. It will be 500 days now. So you have to take into consideration that the ROI depends on the price that you paid for the token or the price that you paid for the node. So this is what I say, don't put money that you're not willing to risk. Of course, you probably seen on DeFi, on YouTube, on Twitter, people saying, hey, I'm just going to put their $30,000, $40,000, 100K into, I don't know, XYZ nodes. But let me tell you something. Maybe they're just stupid degen, but most likely they have a huge portfolio. They have a portfolio that not even me and you combined could reach that number. Again, keep in consideration, just use 2 to 5% of your total capital so you can avoid to make stupid mistakes. You play risky, but you don't play risky with all your capital or a big chunk of your capital, because with higher risk, of course, higher rewards, but there's also higher risk of losing everything. So if you lose, you lost a small amount of money. But if you make it, you made it big. You made it more than your safer bets. This is what higher risk, higher rewards means. Another thing for you to really look into is marketing. If you see they have very aggressive marketing, it doesn't really mean it is a scam, but it doesn't mean it is a safe project as well. Marketing is not bad, but marketing is not good either. So be careful. I see a bunch of people, whenever YouTubers talk about a node, they say instantaneously it is a scam. But how is a project not going to make itself known if it's not with YouTube, with Twitter? They need to do marketing. They need to advertise somewhere. So marketing isn't always bad. Of course, we see the majority of YouTubers promoting, getting paid to promote scams, to promote rug pulls, quick money schemes. And of course, this doesn't help the situation. But again, we cannot say that everything that you see on YouTube or on crypto Twitter is a scam. Projects right now are in a very competitive space, so they need a good marketing campaign. Don't blindly trust influencers, but also don't avoid something because you've seen it somewhere else. See it. If it is interesting to you, go and do your own research. If you don't know how to do your own research, you should check out this video that I made on how to do your own research for every project. Another thing, forks. If it is a fork, you need to do a deeper research than if it wasn't a fork. Why? Because forks are very simple for whatever developer to make. For example, when Ring before Ring rug pulled, everyone created a Ring fork. Olympus DAO, everyone created an Olympus DAO fork. Forking is not hard, is not as hard as you think. If you have the skills to program, to create a DeFi, it is way simpler for you, instead of creating something from zero, for you to fork something that already exists. This applies to everything. For example, if you're a graphic designer, you can just use a mockup online. If you are a YouTube editor, you can just get a template for some graphics. Or if you are a musician, you can just use a sound pack, things like that. So forking is not as hard as some people believe if you know what you're doing, if you have the set of skills, if you work in the area. So if you see something that is forked, you have to make sure they are actually putting their spice, so to say, into the project. They're not just copying the white paper that we've seen here on this channel sometimes. So look for projects that, even if they are forked, they are innovative. So they're bringing innovation, they're bringing their own spice to whatever they are forking. Now, security measures. What do you need to look out as security measures for the nodes? First thing is KYC, or know your customer, if you don't know what KYC means. This basically means that there's a third-party company out there somewhere that audited the team or audited the owner of the project, and they know their identity. This is what a KYC means. This is good for security because if they scam you, or if they pull up a rug pull, or if they run with the money, these third-party companies, they can go to the authorities to show proof of identity of these people who make these scams. KYC does not mean rug proof. So KYC projects, as we've seen plenty of times, they can rug pull. It doesn't mean if something is KYC, it is rug free. For example, all the IRL criminals, robbers, murderers, everyone knows their identity and they are committing crimes anyways. So knowing someone's identity doesn't stop them for doing evil stuff or doing bad stuff. And again, we have a big problem right now, which is the criminal system does not have, it is something new for them with crypto or cyber fraud, cyber scams. So it's something new and very hard for this to go to court or for this to reach some place where the authorities are going to take actions towards this. So this is what sucks right now in crypto, but since it is very new, it will take some time for the justice system to understand and work with these kinds of scams. Something that is better than KYC is for the team to be doxed. So the whole team is public. So the whole team has a face that all the users, all the investors know, which was somehow the case for example, Daniel Sestagali. He was doxed, he was public, he was very interactive with the investors. But as we later on found out, Sifu was a known criminal, a known con artist, but the CEO, Daniel Sesta himself, he was doxed. So this should give a little bit of safety for the project or for the investors. But as we saw, for example, if you haven't seen the Tinder swindler, this sometimes doesn't stop people from doing evil whatsoever. Another thing to look at is the liquidity being locked or not. If it's not locked, it's a big no. You shouldn't even consider joining the project. If it is locked, it means that the money that is there to provide liquidity for the token, so the pair, the other side of the pair, the devs, the team cannot just take that money and pull a rug. So if the liquidity is locked, even if it is for example, 12 months, 14 months, 20 months, whatever, it is a good sign. It doesn't mean that it's rug free, but it means that it's harder for the team to pull a fast one and run away with your money. Another thing is audits. So audits are basically third-party companies that take a look at the code. So they take a look at the whole back end, the whole coding of the project, and they make sure there are no loopholes, there are no breaches that people could use to invade or steal money from the project. So it's basically a team looking at the code to see if the code is safe or not, if the code had any loopholes, if the code is just bad written overall. But again, like KYC, this doesn't mean that the project is rug free whatsoever. The majority of these companies right here we have right now on DeFi, tons and tons of audit companies. So you just have to trust the biggest ones, like for example Certic. If you see it was certified by, audited by Certic, it should give you more confidence than it was audited by some unknown company. Because the majority of these companies, the team that is behind it, maybe they don't even have enough knowledge to just go through the contract as, for example, the developers of the contract itself. So it is a good sign for it to be certified, but again, it doesn't mean it won't rug. Now, Multisig is a good thing to have. It means, for example, there's a wallet, usually the treasury wallet, and it needs at least 3 people for the transactions to be approved. So every transactions with that wallet needs 3 approvals from 3 different people. So usually with Multisig, what happens is the CEO, the creator of the project, has one of this Multisig, and then the other 2 or the other 3, depending on how many people are in this Multisig, they usually are not part of the team. There's sometimes Discord mods or Telegram mods or big influencers. This is to avoid the team itself manipulating the funds. So all 5 signatures are from the team itself. The team can just be into the scam and just be like, hey, it's time to rug. Let's just transfer this to, I don't know, to another MetaMask wallet. And then every single one of them approve the transaction and they run away with your money. So Multisig, you need to be aware of who these people are. Who are the Multisig people? Who has the multi-signature for the wallet? Another big thing for you to understand is the ability for the protocol to evolve. If the protocol is stagnant, hey, we do this, we have 3 tiers, and depending on the tier, you will get 1%, 1.25%, 1.5%. This is it. And then they don't seem to be working to produce something better, to make the project something better, then I'd say stay away from the project. A good project is a project that has a capability of creativity and to grow. So they should be always debriefing with themselves, brainstorming with themselves or with the community to find a better way, how to make it better, how to make it more sustainable, how to invest their money in a better way. If they don't have that, run away. It's usually a bad sign. Doesn't mean they will rug pull, but it means they are just a stagnant project. And I really don't want my money to stay in a stagnant project. Big one, utility. Just because the nodes are generating you passive income, it doesn't mean the project is a good project. Why? Because, for example, if it has no utility whatsoever, let's say you every week go there, you get that money and you get paid in token XYZ. Then you go to Trader Joe's, you go to any DEX and you swap the XYZ token. You really don't want the XYZ token. You really want the USD version of that XYZ token. So the token itself will always have selling pressure because every now and then people will get that money and sell it to any other token or transfer it back to their centralized exchange. So by not having utility, even if it's paying you a good amount of money, a good yield per year, per month, per day, whatever, if it doesn't give you utility, you really don't want that token. You're not going to hold the token itself. So a project that has utility, for example, it has NFT capabilities, gaming capabilities, it gamifies the project, it has a DeFi game, it has, for example, poker. I've seen some poker things popping up here, or for example, DeFi Kingdoms that gamified a DEX. Things like that have utility. You are okay with holding the native token. This is what makes a project good for the long term. Not how much it's paying you right now, because there's a ton of projects that pays a ton of money. But if a project is not able to provide utility, people will get money from their project and transfer it somewhere else, sell it to some other tokens. And another thing that you should always keep an eye on is compounding. How frequently do you compound, or if to compound or to claim the rewards? Well, what I usually do, I split between compounding and claiming. So I would compound once and then I would claim twice. So I compound, let's say if I compound once a week, I'll compound the first week, claim the next 2 weeks, then compound again, claim the next 2 weeks. This will make my ROI longer, a little bit longer, because I'm not claiming every time. Sometimes I'm compounding, but it will make that by the time I'm done, by the time I have my ROI, I will be making a daily or a monthly income a little bit higher than I would if I was just claiming everything. And this makes it a little bit faster after the ROI to have that compounding curve, that exponential curve that we've talked about in, I think, my previous video on how to get from 100 to $1 million. This is my strategy, but again, there's no right or wrong strategy. It applies to a different node. Each node you should look with a different strategy, and depending also on your risk management. If you got all the way to the end of the video, you should now be waiting for the little alpha that I promised in the beginning. So what are some projects that I'm keeping an eye on? So I have a few. I'm not going to be talking about them in specifically, but just go there and do your own research, see if it's something that interests you. if it's something that catches your eye, or if it's something that you just go, I really don't see the point of this project right here, and you can do your own research. I'm not here to promote anything to you. This is not a sponsored video, so just take it with a grain of salt and just go look at these projects if you think they're cool or not. We have Project Europa, we have Ether Stones Fi, we have the Valify app, we have Aleph Finance, we have Harmony Nodes, which I've talked already here in this channel, and we have Corkscrew Finance. Corkscrew Finance has a very nice ROI mechanic. You should definitely look into it once it launches. I'll make a full review on Corkscrew, probably on all of these nodes, but Corkscrew really catch my eye, really got my attention with the ROI that it has. So this is it for today's video. I hope it was insightful for you on how to find nodes and how to see if a certain node is good for you and good for your money to be invested in. So if you got here all the way to the end of the video, why not dropping a like and maybe subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. 80% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. It will mean a lot. It will mean a word to me if you just click the subscribe button down here and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. Anyways, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for my next video. Peace.